And now, News 4's Weather Extra with Chief Meteorologist David Paul.
Welcome into Weather Extra. Meteorologist Ryan Duggar along my side. Good to have you back. I missed you on Friday, so good to have you here tonight.
No, it was cool doing that package about how much warmth that we saw into March, and then last week or I should say 2 weeks ago, with that intense warmth. Temperatures are around 90 degrees.
Back and forth.
Nice roller coaster. I'm kind of liking it so far. Really adds to what you can see this time of year.
Yeah, 90, and then I had 40 at my house back on Sunday morning, so big range for sure. And you know, Easter Sunday can feature a lot of different weather as well. Depends on when it falls on the calendar. Have a look back at some recent Easters with meteorologist Zach Webster.
Despite the date bouncing around from year to year, our weather has been fairly similar for each of the last 10 Easters here in Dothan. You are starting to get into that season where you see a lot less of those cooler temperatures in the morning, a lot more of those warmer temperatures into the afternoon as we head throughout those spring months. And for the most part, we saw those lows in either the 40s or the 50s over the last 10 years. It was a pretty chilly start to Easter back on April 4th in 2021 when that low temperature got down to 39 degrees. We've also seen plenty of warm air as well over the last 10 years. Lots of those temperatures in the 70s and 80s. A couple of our warmer Easters, 85 degrees on the afternoon of April 12th in 2020, 84 degrees on April 16th in 2017. One of our cooler afternoons for Easter just a couple of years ago, April 19th, 2023. Well, saw that high temperature reach 60 degrees.
That's a really neat look back at what we've seen over the last decade.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really pinpoint exactly what Easter will feature, so it's always kind of a toss-up. If you're feeling really comfortable, you can break out the short sleeves, or if you might need a jacket as you're heading out to church.
You know, late March Easter is way different than a late April Easter. So why does it vary? Did you know, Ryan, that the Easter Sunday timing varies? It is the first Sunday on or after the first full moon after the March equinox.
And see, I had no idea about this, but around this time of year, I'm always asking myself, where does Easter lie? But I never asked myself to go answer this question, so I'm glad you did it for me.
Now you know. So if we look back over history, this is interesting. So from 1700 to the year 2299, the date of Easter can vary between March 22nd and April 25th. So if you look at that window there, hundreds of years, typically, it's somewhere between, say, the 30th of March and about the 19th, 20th of March, 21st of March. Rarely is it after that, sometimes 23rd, 24th, 25th, sometimes as early as 22nd of March, but typically it's somewhere in this window. And that's why there's such a variation, because if you have Easter here, the end of March, that average high and low is way lower than it would be, say, right here.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you got to account for that cooler air is still going into that transition phase. So yeah, if you see that Easter is going in for really late March, you can count on maybe having to pack a little bit more of a layer or so as you're doing your plans outside or anything.
And a lot of people say, well, there's always a cool blast around Easter. Well, oftentimes there is, because oftentimes it's somewhere around the end of March or the beginning of April. But even this year, a little cooler air coming in for tomorrow night and the night after. But as we go towards Easter Sunday on the 20th, the normal low 56, the normal high is 80. The records 42 and 91. It could be really hot. By the way, sunrise on Easter is at 6:08. So here's the pattern as we go towards Easter weekend. Cooler air coming in Wednesday morning. That blue looks pretty good, but Ryan, as we go towards Good Friday and Easter weekend, what a change. Temperatures really begin to soar Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. You get a little bit more of that, looks like westerly, southwesterly flow that pumps in that warm air. Maybe we get a little bit more ridging. Temperatures around the 80s or well into the 80s by then. So, yeah, looking like a pretty good time to spend outside.
Yeah, maybe by the pool. So that normal high is 80, the record 91. Looks like our actual high 86 right in the middle of what is possible for this time of year. All right, coming up next, we're going to discuss rain chances as we go through Easter Sunday and into next week. That's next.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back to Weather Extra. I noticed some of my grass a little thirsty out there. We had some decent rainfall in the past, but you know, a week without rain, all of a sudden everything starts turning kind of dry. But we're in good shape if you look at the drought monitor, because in our area anyway, there is no drought. It's widespread west of us and east of us, but that's a good view right here at home.
Yeah, that is really nice. And typically, you know, we're always bringing up the drought monitor into our driest months like September, October, and it's hard to get the color out of this area. But this is, like you said, such a welcome sight, really.
Yeah. Now, if we go a couple more weeks without any rain, you could see that yellow creep back into our area, but so far, so good. Looking ahead, though, there's not much hope for rain. I'll be honest with you, all the way through the weekend and early next week. That green that you see is mainly from what the model is cranking out tomorrow, maybe a couple sprinkles. This is ending Monday at 5 p.m. So between now and then, most of the wiregrass just bone dry.
Yeah, really nothing going on, and it's just because of that, you know, we've had that ridging in place, and it's hard for that to really break down to put energy and moisture through our area, but, you know, it doesn't last forever, as we know.
That's right, it will change. That cold front that comes in tomorrow, there's just not much moisture with it here, so some passing clouds, maybe a sprinkle again areas north of us, but as we go through late week and the weekend, as you mentioned, Ryan, before, that ridging sets up across the southeast part of the country, that keeps the storm track west and north of us. Could be a pretty nasty system over parts of the I-80 corridor, Iowa, Missouri, into Illinois, Sunday at 4 p.m. You begin to see some changes getting towards, say, Monday, north and west of us, and then we're pinpointing rain chances, at least some spotty activity for Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of colors showing up, a lot of instability, a little more moisture at that point, and as you mentioned, we will be due, I think, at that point for some rainfall because it'll be 2 weeks basically without rain.
I was about to say,
next week.
Yeah, exactly. And for March and April, typically that's some of our more wet months too. So it would be pretty untypical to not see anything for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, in the month of April in particular. March can be a little drier, May can be a little drier, but usually April's that time where the clashing of the air masses is ongoing and the jet stream is nearby, so we usually get some decent rainfall. If you look at the Climate Prediction Center's outlook for next week, so the 20th to the 24th, that 6 to 10 day precip outlook, it does show a 40 to 50% chance of seeing above normal precipitation. So we will be kind of watching how this all comes together. I will say the AI European model, which is really my go-to, your go-to, that does show a fairly wet setup for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. And if that verifies, that map that we showed you could very well come to fruition.
Hey, let's bring on those April showers, because April showers bring some Mayflowers.
That's right, yeah. Those flowers are so good for sure. All right, that's it for Weather Extra tonight.